welcome back to We Love the State. This is the state's favorite podcast. I am your host, Andy Coons. Right over here to my left is Ben DeYoung. How are you doing, Ben?
Doing good. It's been one heck of a week so far, and excited to chat with you about our impending World War III.
Yeah, we've been toying around with the idea of going to a full-blown war with Iraq. Luckily, we've got people like Thomas Massey who are trying to force that into a vote as well. I think Rand Paul's trying to force that into a vote also.
Yeah.
It's what, people like Dave Smith have been saying since Donald Trump got elected the second time. Eventually we were probably going to find ourselves in a place like this where we're heavily criticizing him because he's doing something he said that he wouldn't. He really loved the idea of being the no new wars guy until until this.
Yeah, and I think that is his natural instinct, is to be anti-war, but I think when you surround yourself with literal demons for months and then years, like, it just wears you down.
Yeah.
And I think, the information he's hearing is, only from one person. I've heard that Tulsi Gabbard it's almost impossible for her to have an audience with him at any time, whether it's like she's kept out of meetings, she doesn't get to have one-on-ones. Like, you can tell that they're being very proactive of keeping her the heck away from Donald Trump. And it's sad because I think there was a lot of us that were excited about his appointments in this administration.
Yeah.
And whether it's the just recently signed executive action giving Monsanto and other weed killing growers, or no, not growers, but weed killing companies, he's giving them the same kind of protections that the drug companies have, so you can't sue them. And it's like, well, that was RFK's one of his main talking points was glyphosate and Roundup in our foods is killing us. And here's another betrayal of, like, nope, we're going to give them, immunity from any prosecution. It's like, I think what's crazy is the fact that it feels like he was just elected. So we all remember all the campaign promises.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just how quick it was, such a turn and such a slap in the face to his constituents. I think he just had a press briefing. I know he's giving the, what's the big speech, the State of the Nation address tonight?
State of the Union?
State of the Union, yeah. And they were talking about the fact that his poll numbers are like in the toilet. He goes, I just don't understand. We're totally MAGA here. And it must be the silent majority that is still giving, like, he's just basically saying, it's the ghosts. That's all the dead people in America. They are still really supporting me. It's just, it is funny in some manner of speaking, but it's tragic in others.
Yeah. Yeah. He's, man, he has been such a disappointment. That first, like January of 25, February of 25, I feel like that was the very height of his second administration. Man, it like every day you'd get onto X and see something new, like, oh, they're doing what? And it was all good stuff. And then it just that all just died, And
Yeah.
man, he I regret voting for him. I regret supporting him. And it's been so disappointing,
Yeah, I mean, the whole Doge thing was like, it's interesting how what he does is whether it's deportations or whether it's Doge or whether it's the tariffs are going to replace the income tax, like all of these like he'll dangle it out as just red meat for his base because he knows that they're going to be, oh, that's awesome.
Hmm.
And then he fails dramatically every time. And then he turns around and goes, well, I wonder why the people aren't supporting. I just don't, I'm sure he is in one hell of a bubble. And that's on purpose to keep, voices and keep reality from him.
Hmm.
But I just don't know any American, even the people that are still holding on to the mega crown, that are like, I mean, they're even starting to sour, going like, you know what? I mean, the Epstein stuff, and then the war stuff, and then now the drug stuff, and it's like, I mean, that Massey actually is putting forth a bill to strip the power from that executive order. I think he's basically taking the money away from enforcing it. And there's been a few, I think Laura Boebert actually co-sponsored, along with the guy he worked with on the Epstein stuff. Why am I Rokana? He's
Oh,
also
yeah.
helped. So I mean, there is pushback, but it's just like, um, I don't know, this stuff with Iran. What's interesting is I just saw it on X. Now I haven't been able to verify it, but I think what was one of the aircraft carriers, the USS. I'll have to look through my X posts, but they were talking about a lot of the sailors, the seamen, if you will, have been flushing down T-shirts into the toilets, and the entire, like, 70% of the toilets on this aircraft carrier are now overflowing, and they actually having to dock um the carrier in uh Israel to try to make repairs, because even the sailors are like, we're sitting ducks out here on this
Yeah.
aircraft carrier. Aircraft carriers, I mean, they reached their height at, Vietnam and Korea, but they're just sitting ducks for intercontinental ballistic missiles. I mean, you could take out our entire surface fleet pretty fast with Iran's storage of ICBMs. So I think they understand how futile this is if Iran were to go full and sink everything.
Hmm.
I mean, it is, you have to kind of put your head in, the mind space of some of these leaders going, well, it's kind of like chess, where you're like, if I make this move, what's the counter move? If I move too strong, is the counter move going to be 100 times worse? Like, you just kind of wonder, like, what's going on in the heads of a lot of these people at this point in time, because it does look like an attack on Iran is inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah. I kept hearing that it was going to start over the weekend, and then it didn't. It's Tuesday now. Still haven't heard anything about, an initial strike. And so I'm, I'm hoping there's something going on where we can avoid this war altogether. Cause I don't know a lot about the countries in the Middle East. Um, but something that I've seemed to gleam off of the various people that I've listened to about this war, it's like Iran is going to be a lot different than a lot of these other countries. Iran is not going to be Iraq. It's not going to be Afghanistan. Like, these people can fuck us up, you know, and that's something I'm definitely worried about. I've got friends and family in the military. I'm sure a lot of the people listening know somebody that is enlisted, and it's just it's it's scary to think that their lives are just going to be ch- chucked out, and for what are we going to get from going to war with Iran? What's the golden goose egg for us? You know, because it really, you know, oil, like, it's really nothing more than just bragging rights. Just us being able to be like, oh yeah, we came in and we killed a bunch of Iranians too, you know. And I don't know. I don't see how this makes us more free. I don't see how this keeps us safe. You know, I we keep hearing about, oh, they're saying death to America, death to America, death to America. You know, and it's like, yeah, but I mean, what are they gonna do though? Really, you know,
Right. Are we that
if we just,
soft?
yeah, are we that soft that we can't handle a chant? But then also, are we not going to even be like, I wonder why they're saying death to America? Oh,
Right.
is it because we've been screwing with their country for 70 years? You know, like uh, the the idea that death to America is so, or somebody saying death to America is so reprehensible that we have to send our entire military fleet out there to level that country and turn it into glass, you know.
Yeah, well, I think what's crazy nowadays is the fact that if that's all they have as an excuse to preemptively bomb, I mean, you're literally attacking another country without any provocation outside of them chanting. And if
Hmm.
that's literally all the powers that be have as an excuse, I don't even see them even trying to justify this war because of the chanting. It just seems like it's like we're doing this because Bibi said we're doing this. I think everybody kind of understands at this point that this is all for Israel. And now there is a select set of boomers out there that think that it's justified because whatever we do for Israel is somehow they're going to get rewarded in heaven for it or something. I'm still not quite fully understanding the whole dispensationalism. It's so stupid at least face value. I just find it hard to believe that there are people that actually fall for it. Like
Yeah.
if you just read Laura Loomer's thread on X, you have to look at her and go, this person's insane.
Yeah.
Like, and that's, but there's a lot of people like the Huckabee interview. I don't know if you saw that, but it's just
Oh
like
yeah.
these people are literally in a cult and they're so brainwashed that they would drink that Kool-Aid if BB handed them a glass and they would say, yes, thank you. I mean,
Hmm.
it's and even knowing that it was laced with poison, they would still do it. It's just I'm still shaking my head in just the amount of people with a lot of power that are so. I don't know. It's just how do you look at the facts and figures and just be like, nope, I'm not believing that. I don't know. That's where blind faith is scary, and it has led to a lot of death throughout history. Is God told me to do it. And it's like, no, you wanted to do it. You're using God as an excuse.
Yeah.
It's just black hearted creatures that roam the earth and claim that it's God that's demanded the babies die. It's like, it's sad.
Yeah. You know, if chanting death to America is worth that, if it's worth all that bloodshed, you know, I swear I saw videos of some Israelis chanting death to America, and maybe we should take a look at that too, you know.
Yeah, especially considering when they were dancing and
Right.
chanting. Yeah. Context matters.
So yeah, war with Iran. Iran and is one of the BRICS nations. They're allied with Russia and China. This is really the big fear here, is that, you know, the United States attacking Iran um, would activate China and Russia in Iran's defense. You know, and then we
Or even
have a.
countries like Turkey,
Mhm,
maybe potentially even Egypt. I mean, at least the populations in those countries, they really hate America. Their
mhm,
government has been bought out for years on the behest of Israel to keep them, in line. Because if you look at the top 10 recipients of our foreign aid and the billions, like Israel's number one, but like Turkey, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, they're all right underneath, and that's still money for Israel in the end.
mhm.
It's insane how much money we spend on their behalf. And then you look at like Trump's gets 200 million, but Israel gets trillions. It's like it is crazy to think that for only $200 million you basically can run the world through
Mm-hmm.
a puppet.
Mm-hmm.
And in today's money, 200 million really isn't that much, but
Right.
it gets you a president, which is just bananas to me. It's like, where are you, Elon Musk? Put some of that money to good. I mean, granted, I think he did give Trump like 50 million or something like that
Mm-hmm.
on his last run, but
Now imagine if Elon Musk backed Thomas Massey in 28.
yeah, and gave him $1 trillion like war chest. Can you
Yeah.
imagine? Not, I mean, maybe not a trillion. I mean, we throw these words around and it's don't even realize how many zeros are after it. But like even uh, 200 million, 500 million, like I don't. I mean, he's promised to. I think he did promise in the past to help Massey and fund his campaign, but haven't seen anything on him since then.
Um, I saw a video of Massey. It was his campaign announcement for his next term in Congress, and he was making fun of Trump in it. He does a decently solid Trump impression.
Hmm.
Um, but I can't help but wonder, like, oh, is this like a sort of cryptic thing? Like, why are they posting a video in February of 2026 about one of his old congressional campaigns? You know, and I'm like, are they trying to say something? Are they trying to hint at something? Like maybe he's gonna go for a 2028 campaign. Man, if he does, I've seen tons of Democrats that are like, I would vote for Massey. You know, uh, a Massey Rokana ticket would be. I
I've
think
thought
that.
about that too. Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
Well,
Like,
I remember being like, man, Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene, that'd be solid, but the more I think about Massey and Rokana, I'm like, dude, that's that feels pretty unstoppable to me, because you have Democrats going for Rokana, you have Republicans going for Massey, you have Democrats going for both. I would vote for Rokana if he was on the Democrat ticket,
oh
you
yeah,
know, just because out of all of those people, I can look at Rokana and I at the very least feel that he is a Democrat who believes what he says.
yeah, he's genuine.
He's genuine, and even though we'll probably disagree on immigration or abortion or something like that, it's like he's one of the only Democrats trying to get pedophiles' names exposed. You know, and I think the Epstein files has been the great equalizer um across the political aisles, uh the most unifying thing since 9/11.
Yeah,
Because I look at there was a guy that I saw on TikTok, and he was criticizing somebody because they didn't have the right opinion about, who was it, Alex Preddy and Renee Good, I think. Or no, it was something else. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But it was just, I was watching it, and after a while, it was just like, I don't care. I don't care about any of this. And I went into the comments, and I even commented, and I said, "Hey, our government's run by pedophiles. This is not important. None of this, none of what you're saying. Nobody gives a shit about this. You know, it's I don't know. After seeing a page describing multiple grown men gang rape a little girl, where like they're describing how they did it, and I saw that and I was just like, oh my gosh, like
yeah. The fact that
this
we
is the
haven't had
most heinous evil I've ever witnessed. And
right, and we have one arrest.
yeah, one no, there was, oh, I can't use my phone because I'm using it as a camera, but there was one more arrest. um
In the
I,
U.S.
no, it was another one in Europe. Um, but there was Prince Andrew, but he got released after 11 hours. Um, and he got released pending an investigation, and so I'm hoping that that's actually fruitful, and you know they actually imprison him because
Well, even with the investigation, if they pull out additional names, and then that can be tied back to Epstein, and then they can be tied to its other. I mean, it could be something that could be unraveled, I think, pretty quickly if the courts got involved and if there was transparency. And I
yeah.
think that's what they're afraid of, and that's where I wonder if any of these arrests are going to stick, simply because they don't want to get to a point in an investigation where, like, any level of transparency would be forced to occur.
I don't think a lot of them are going to stick. And I'm not just trying to be cynical. I'm just like, there's these are people with a lot of money and a lot of influence. And so, even if all the names get unredacted and we see that, oh, George Jetson was in the Epstein files, well, he's going to pay off, he's going to pay off the prosecutor, or he's going to pay off people in the jury, or he's going to pay off the judge, and it's not going to be anything to him, but $10 million going to this attorney general or something like that, or this grand prosecutor, like that's a big deal, you know and so I don't think we're going to see these very wealthy, very powerful people in prison,
Right.
but at the very least, I we will know who they are. You know, I think that's the best case scenario. Nobody's going to really go to prison. There might be a few sacrificial lambs here and there, but the vast majority aren't going to be in prison. But best case scenario is we know who they are. So I can tell you, Lex Wessner, there's not a dime of my money that's going to be spent on Victoria's Secret. You know, and listen, I looked really good in those outfits, but no more.
I saw pictures. I can vouch. Yeah,
Anyway,
that
but
he's a creepy little, like, troll. Like, I saw some
yeah,
videos of his disposition or whatever, where he was testifying in front of Congress, and his lawyer was like, "If you say more than 5 words in response to an answer, I am gonna
yeah,
fucking kill you." And it's
yeah.
like, whoa.
hmm I tell you what, it's funny seeing these super 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 rich people um be complete idiots. Like with Bill Gates and him giving his wife an STD and trying to sneak antibiotics into, like, that's horrible. It's hilarious, but it's horrible. It'd be hilarious if that happened in a movie. Because it'd be like, oh, that's really funny because nobody would ever do that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, it's so outrageous. It's like,
yeah.
it's definitely, truth is crazier than fiction.
Well, it's you see stories like that, and then you remember it's like, oh yeah, Bill Gates is a computer dork. Like he's a huge nerd who just got a ton of money. You know,
Yeah, he couldn't get women. I mean, I don't necessarily say that he's a pedophile, but at the same time, he clearly was using Epstein for prostitutes.
hmm
And but yeah, if you're just been a dork your entire life, and somebody's like, "I can give you a room full of girls," I can see, somebody that doesn't have a lot of moral character being like, "Finally, I'm popular," like,
yeah.
or like, who was the guy in the wheelchair that went to the island multiple times?
Stephen
Stephen
Hawking.
Hawking. Yeah, that's like,
uh,
geez, talk about, like, nerd fest on
well,
Epstein
okay.
Island.
This is my darkest take on Stephen Hawking. Listen, everything, regardless, that happened on that island is unforgivable and evil. But put yourself in Stephen Hawking's wheels for a second. You kind of get it a little bit, right? Like you're kind of like, if you're Stephen Hawking and you're bound to a wheelchair, have to talk through a computer, and some guy's like, "Hey, I can get you any girl that you want." I kind of get it. Now, I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying that anybody should do that. But man, if you got Stephen Hawking-itis, whatever the hell he had, like you kind of get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is interesting to kind of, because I don't remember even who said it, but nobody is the villain in their own story. So I'm sure that most people that are connected with Epstein, or even, people like Trump, they somehow are able to rationalize their decisions to make themselves the good guy in the story.
Yeah.
And it is amazing what the human psyche can rationalize and justify.
Hmm.
I mean, it is. I mean, granted, there are, I think, Satanists out there who actually revel in sin, um, and they're actually probably, I think, better people in the fact that at least they admit to it,
Hmm.
versus the people who are trying to, constantly justify it. But it does make you. I mean, it does show like what the mind can do, even under some of the most horrific and disgusting circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely this whole thing's definitely been like an eye-opening thing to just be like there are depths of human depravity that you just don't think exist. You know, you don't think they exist until you're shown that they do. You know, and it's I think that's why these have been such a unifying thing in our country right now, because it's like you really just didn't realize that people could be that evil, you know, and not like individual cases, like there's a whole class of people who are this evil, you know, who like
Yeah.
see us as cattle, you know, and um I tell you what, it's definitely hard to have like a positive outlook, when there's just because Epstein can't be the only one. There's got to be dozens or hundreds of blackmail operations like this. Have you ever seen the movie The Sound of Freedom?
Wow, the name sounds very familiar. That was it was an indie, or like an alternate production company that did that. Was it
Yeah, it was from Angel Studios,
Angel
and
Studios? Yeah.
yeah, and it's all about the child sex trafficking trade, and these guys' operation. I think it was in South America, or it might have been somewhere in like East Asia or something like that. But like basically trying to set up a sting operation to catch these rich pedophiles, And there was this private island, and they set up a party on there, and they came in and arrested everybody and saved all these kids. And um, it was surprisingly a difficult movie to watch,
Yeah.
because
And I think that's why I never watched it, because it's even the Epstein files, like even I'm like, I can't read anymore.
yeah, yeah, it's hard to get through that stuff. Um,
Or
it, it,
Gaza
it
pictures of Gaza, like the kids
hmm
and like people stuck on the rubble, and it's just like,
hmm
oof.
I can't tell you how many pictures I've seen of a pile of broken concrete, and there's some little kid's arm sticking out of it, and it's just I don't know. I try not to like go looking for stuff like that. It catches me by surprise, but like I try not to go looking for stuff like that, just
Do you?
because
I
that'll
wonder,
stick with me.
is that? I wonder if that's even, or maybe potentially even part of the op, is to flood people with so many documents and so many pictures and videos that they just end up becoming desensitized to it.
Hmm.
I mean,
That could be. And
because I think
imagine
that,
what that's going to do to our society if we all get desensitized to dead children and child rape victims. Like, imagine if we hear that so much that we're just like, whatever, I don't care anymore. You know?
right, or on the flip side is, if the videos and documents between Gaza and Epstein, if that can't reach you, and you're because your head is so buried and you're just like, I don't care, I just want to go to Disney with my family next year. Those people, I mean, considering everything that's out there of like the reality of what their world actually is, and it's nothing as, I mean, I think Tucker said this. He was talking to a CIA guy about the 9/11 documents, and he's like, dude, everything you've been told is a lie. And there are people that are, I mean, it's the one of that old Matrix quote. You can show them the proof. You can tell them exactly what's going on, and they will do everything possible to keep their fake reality alive to the point that they will do everything they can to stop you
Mm-hmm.
from waking people up. That movie is still so prophetic. Like I watched it just last week, the original Matrix, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's crazy that this is a movie. Like, it's so on the nose of especially
I
our
need to
time.
go and watch that again. Those are really great movies.
That would be a fun one to do, like a review where we both watch it and like either do like an audio overlay of the movie as it's playing, or just do a kind of a response video of like what are the things that really knocked us off of our or knocked our shoes off when we were watching it, just in today's parlance. Like
Yeah.
it's
There's
still such a great movie.
there's quite a few movies that you and I need to do a review on. We got to do one on that Der Tiger movie. That was a good movie. V for Vendetta, like there's a ton of movies, you know.
Yeah.
We have to figure out the format for that, you know. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I like doing those just because I've seen others, people like the Critical Drinker, and where they will sit down and watch a movie. And it's kind of cool because even if you're just home alone, you can listen to the podcast as you're watching the movie, and you're almost just sitting with three guys watching a movie that everybody's seen a million times, but then you have like feedback constantly about, oh, what did you hear about this, or what's that context, or what did that actor do? So it'd be
mm-hmm.
cool. I think it'd be a cool episode. If anybody out there would like to see Andy and I watch a movie together, that's creepy maybe. If you'd like to watch a movie with us, that probably sounds better. I think that would be fun.
I don't know. There's some potential in that first option, you know. We could sell tickets to your bay window in your house.
Yeah,
And you and I sit on
just
your couch and watch a movie. Just
an audience of people in the yard
yeah.
watching us watch a movie.
Yeah.
Entertainment is dead if we can pull that one off.
Yeah. Oh man. That would be a lot of fun. Um well anyway, so war in Iraq, not war in Iraq, war in Iran,
War in Iraq 2.0,
potential, yeah.
or well, actually 3.0.
Well, war with Iran probably means war with Russia and war with China. What in your opinion, this is out of my league as far as like I definitely don't feel like I know what I'm talking about at all. But war with China and Russia, I mean, those two military forces versus ours. Well, I guess those three military forces versus us. I mean, where do you think that leads? What do you think that looks like?
I don't think China is going to put boots on the ground or fire anything directly against us. I think they actually were just in talks with supplying Iran with a new um, ground to or anti-ship missile. I guess this missile hasn't been tested, but it flies just feet above the ocean, so it's almost indistinguishable from the water, and I mean, it can come in and just knock out ships like no tomorrow. So I think China's interested of testing some of their technology on the battlefield to see how it works. Russia, I think, is very preoccupied in Ukraine, so I don't know if they have enough bandwidth. I mean, they couldn't even save Assad when he was being threatened in Syria,
Mm-hmm.
even though, and they had a military base there. but I think that, they're so focused on wrapping up this stuff in Ukraine that I don't know if they have a lot of, extra bandwidth to help with an Iran. Now, like Colonel Douglas McGregor talks about, Turkey being the one where, because technically they'll be next once Iran falls, because this is all about the Greater Israel Project.
The seven
And
countries.
yep, and it's I didn't even realize that the IDF wears a map on their shoulder that shows the Greater Israel, which means it's taking land from Lebanon, it's taking land from Turkey, it's taking land from Egypt. So
Mhm.
like Iran's just the next domino to fall, but it's not going to be the last.
Yeah.
And I think more and more people are waking up to that fact that they want they want to bleed the US dry to obtain their goals. And that's, that I think that came out in the Epstein. It was pretty obvious that there is us and there is them. Them is goy, them is their animals, and we have every right to treat animals like animals.
Mhm.
And that can be whether it's warfare, whether it's prostitution and pedophilia. I mean, it is. I think once you understand that there is this racist supremacy ideology that's baked into Judaism, at least Talmudic Judaism,
Mhm.
I think things make a lot more sense. But
Yeah.
but at the same time, it becomes even scarier.
Do you think that? I mean, do you think that we're in the United States? We're heading towards a more, and I don't have a better term. Um, but do you think we're heading towards a more? I do have a better term. Israel centric um America, or a less Israel centric America?
I think it depends on the midterms, quite honestly, because I think the left is pretty much. I mean, their whole dynamic and their whole, I guess, moral compass is victim versus victim, or versus perpetrator.
Like
And so,
oppressive
yeah,
or oppressor
oppressed
versus
versus
oppressed.
oppressor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and through that lens, Israel is the oppressor.
Hmm.
Um, Especially what they've done to Gaza, and I think Epstein is woken them, kind of proven that fact in their minds. But they also want to silence opposition. They also want to they want full censorship on the internet. So, and that aligns perfectly with what Israel wants. So I do have some faith in the American spirit. I think that there is still I would say, probably about, if you were taking polling out and voting out, just American American, freedom, individualist, like, no, that's mine. It's still there in the United States. And I think it can be woken up. And I think if we keep on pushing this whole idea of like censoring speech, and I mean, I think I had heard somebody was put in jail, and I think he's either Florida or Texas for an anti-Israel post on social media. I mean, we had talked about like that, Britain is a warning for us, and like we're already there. Like
Hmm.
we are finding people and arresting people for speech. And I didn't think it was going to take that long. But I think if that happens more and more, we're going to reach a tipping point where the United States says, no, we're not complying. And I don't know what that looks like. I mean, is that, a shooting happening at a home because, somebody goes for their, it's a SWAT team that comes in with their guns drawn because you said something mean about a foreign country, and then shooting happens, and then all of a sudden it's on the press that it wasn't a drug bust, it was a speech bust. I don't know if, I mean, yeah, they probably try to keep that as quiet as possible, but I would hope there would be a huge outcry in this nation if something like that were to happen. Of like, no, we're not tolerating that. Now, I think they need a person to get behind. and that's where like a Massey or somebody who has has a mic and has a lot of respect and has the potential for calling to light, some of this stuff. I mean, without that figurehead, I don't know if they're. I mean, you almost need to have one to have to be able to push back against something as big as censorship. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, I think the Democrats are going to gain a lot of seats in this midterm. I don't think very few Republicans are going to show up to vote, and that makes me nervous because if you have a bunch of leftists who want censorship because you hurt my feelings, or you have a bunch of right people who want censorship because you hurt my favorite country, um, that is a scary. That's something that both sides of the aisle can get behind, and if people don't wake up, it is a scary thought. I think they have to take down speech in order to further their goals. I mean, I just heard the new guy that Trump is going to be appointing as the new chair of the Federal Reserve. His main goal is digital currency. I mean, that ends free speech right there, because
Mm-hmm.
if you say something that they don't like, they just turn off your money.
Yeah.
They don't even have to come knocking at your door anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They can just turn you off, basically. Um, that's I think more scary to me in the long term because of the power that kind of controls. Because at that point, our money is not ours anymore.
Yeah.
It's loaned to us, and it can be removed, turned off, or you're told, yeah, you can't have any more red meat this month. Like, then we are just cattle.
Yeah. I think that if we're not already headed towards it, we need to start heading towards it. But I think it's time to revolt. I think it's time to overthrow our own government. Um, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, the Epstein files have illuminated something with the powerful elites that I really think we need to consider, and that is, listen, if they're not guilty of committing arguably one of the most heinous and evil acts perpetrated against children, then they helped cover it up. And both of those, I think, um, warrant the death penalty, you know? And I'm going to say something super firebrand, um, but I don't know. God gave us the freedom of speech to use it for something. I think these people should be hanged, you know? Trump,
Public execute,
any
yeah.
public, I have public. They should be hanged in public. Donald Trump should be hanged in public. Anybody who helped Pam Bondi should be hanged in public. Anybody who helped facilitate the rape of children, who carried out the rape of children, or covered up the rape of children, hanged in public. That's an unforgivable crime, you know? And um, I just, I, I I don't know. I don't see how this thing keeps going on, you know, when we've had, as brief as we did, we had a peek behind the curtain to see, what the mechanism actually looks like in it, and it's all just child sacrifice.
It's
And
worse than we even thought. Like, even
yeah.
the weird, crazy conspiracy theorists are like, "Gee, this is crazy."
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, outside of Alex Jones, who is he clearly sold something, his soul, his. I mean,
I think
it's
I think
sad
he's
how far he
hoping,
fell.
yeah, I think he's hoping that um the Trump administration is going to make his legal issues go away. And so
Yeah,
I think that's why he's so sycophantic um, about Trump and everything he's doing. And listen, there's so many frogs turning gay now because Alex won't tell the
call it out.
truth anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I had one hump in my leg the other day. It was weird. It was like winter time. I'm like,
I
did
saw
this thing come from?
I saw two boy frogs out there kissing, and I was like, no, stop it. You stop that right there. Anyway,
Spray him with some water. Calm down.
Yeah, some holy water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, well, yeah, things are looking pretty bleak. It's hard to find a silver lining. Well, it's not hard to find a silver lining. The silver lining is that, um more and more everyday people are talking the way that you and I do, you know. More and more people are out there being like, I don't trust any of them, you know. So there is a silver lining, you know.
Yeah.
And ultimately I think it's I don't think they're going to be successful in throwing people in jail for Israel posts, because you got to remember, we're Americans, you know. If some guy gets thrown in jail because he said screw Israel, a hundred 100 million people are going to be like, screw Israel, you know. Be like, what are you going to do, arrest all of us, you know? So I don't know. I think that right there is sort of the enduring spirit of America, is we are the first ones to say, "Hey, fuck you." You know?
Yeah. You can't tell me
I
what to do.
Yeah, that's something that I love about America, something I love about our culture, is just we have all the middle fingers, and we'll use them. But anyway, are there any well, I let's go ahead and wrap this up. Are there any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
Try to stay positive. It does suck. If you can find something to laugh at, even if it's something that has to do with, the Epstein files or war. I mean, if you can try to find something humorous, and there are the things out there that are, you're just like, I can't believe they just said that. So be okay with laughing, trying to find humor in something that's happening, and realize, to your point earlier, people are waking up, and that is something that's been long overdue. But because it's so much is now in their face when it comes to this just disgusting creatures that are, ruling our government, people are waking up to that fact, and I think that's a good thing. Now, hopefully there will be action, because just knowledge and by itself is kind of futile, but you have to do something about it once once you've been engaged. So try to do something, talk to people about this stuff. I mean, they always say don't talk about religion and politics, but they're so important, and so they really have influence over our lives, and so we need to talk about it. And if you can get involved in organizations that, like the Libertarian Party, or maybe run for like a local office where you can actually have a voice and say this is will not stand. I always kind of contemplate like how I would have acted in my current role, as somebody who sits on the village council, is how would I acted differently, or what could I have done during COVID? Because that's where I think, when you have really scary times where it's right here, right now, there's a lot of people that were pretty helpless during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be that person again if we ever come to that. And thankfully I'm not, because I did get involved in, a local. So if you have the bandwidth, or if you don't have the bandwidth and you're just like, I don't have the ability to run for an office or to serve on a committee, but I know somebody who's really good, and I'm going to give him $5 or $10. Like
Yeah.
Massey's been, doing, I think, really well with the grassroots donations. Donate to Massey. Donate to people who have an impact. My friend Steve Cara in the Michigan House. Like, there are people out there that if you can't do it, they're doing it, and so they need our support. So it is hard not to get wrapped up in the what's happening in Iran or what's happening in DC, but I think it's a little bit easier to handle like what's happening in my neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and see, the good and the bad, and do what you can to make an impact where you live.
Yeah, could not agree more. Um, yeah, yeah, I think that's really good. Um, so well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe, share this, tell your friends about us, tell your friends that me and Ben Packing some
Brilliant.
serious heat over here. Oh yeah, and smart.
And brilliant.
I was gonna say big penises. But
Brilliant penises.
anyway, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on X. Please follow me on X. I have under 1,000 X followers, and I have 65,000 TikTok followers. So let's get some traffic on X, people. Let's quit messing around. All right, that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Take it easy.